This is the Week in Review for TheTrumpet.com, Friday, July 22nd, 2011. A sign of Pakistan's deteriorating relations with the U.S. is its warming relations with Iran. Since Pakistan's President Pervez Musharraf was ousted in 2008, the country has moved closer to its western neighbor. Last Saturday, Pakistani President Asif Ali Zardari visited Iran for the second time in 3 weeks. He met with Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad and its supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The leaders discussed cooperation in energy, trade, and counterterrorism. Zardari told Ahmadinejad that he considers Iran an important friend and player in the region, as well as a model of resistance and path to progress. Khamenei called Pakistan a great nation and said its real enemy was the West and the U.S. on top of it. Israelis are much more positive about Europe than is generally imagined, according to a new poll from Ben-Gurion University. In fact, 81% want Israel to actually become part of the European Union. One of the poll's organizers said the results show Israel seeking stronger cooperation and wanting to avoid isolation. The poll also found that German Chancellor Angela Merkel was the most popular European leader among Israelis, and that 64% of Israelis would support NATO troops landing in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Israel has never applied to join the EU, and the Trumpet does not expect that will occur. However, this survey reveals that the Israeli populace is increasingly open to European intervention in their troubled region. The Bible specifically prophesies that when Israel sees the futility of the peace process, it will turn to Germany, but the German-led Europe will turn out to be a counterfeit peacemaker. On Tuesday, the International Monetary Fund told the European Union that it needs to become more tightly integrated. Antonio Borges, director of the IMF European Department, said the answer to the European crisis is more Europe, not less. Borges said that policymakers must change the structure of the Union and institute deeper economic integration. Other financial officials are making similar statements. The head of currency at HSBC has said that there are only two possible outcomes to the current crisis: fiscal union or breakup. Another financial expert called it the end game for this part of the European sovereign crises. In reality, the EU and Germany are committed to consolidating Europe into an even deeper integration than any of the experts are calling for. As the Trumpet has forecast for decades, this is exactly what the Bible says will happen on the European continent. Everyone in Europe wants the EU to build a permanent military headquarters. Everyone, that is, except for Britain. On Monday, the EU's foreign minister said it needs a permanent command and control center for future EU civilian and military campaigns. British Foreign Minister William Hague immediately opposed the idea, saying the United Kingdom will not agree to it now or in the future. A high-ranking diplomat said the UK is the only nation stoutly opposed to the idea. The news illustrates two important trends in Europe: the growth of the EU superstate and the pushing aside of Britain. Not only is Pakistan looking to Iran, it is also entertaining overtures from China. In recent months, anti-American sentiment in Pakistan has risen to extraordinary levels, and many have called on Islamabad to draw closer to Beijing. The former alliance between the West and the Pakistani leadership has all but dissolved. A series of diplomatic disasters have alienated the two nations. When the U.S. announced it would be withholding some of its military aid to the country, many Pakistanis called it good riddance and an opportunity to draw closer to Beijing. Expect this trend to continue and for Pakistan to sever its ties with the West and weld itself to some of its Asian neighbors instead. As the U.S. space shuttle program came to a close this week, Russia declared a new era in space exploration. As the space shuttle Atlantis completed its final flight, the Russian space agency declared that this is now the era of the Soyuz. The Soyuz rocket is now the only means of ferrying astronauts to the International Space Station. The Roscosmos agency said that the reliability and cost efficiency of the Soyuz are reasons why it is still flying. Meanwhile, Americans' missionless space shuttles are headed for museums. The British Army is thinning its ranks once again. On Monday, British Defense Secretary Liam Fox announced that the regular army will cut 10,000 soldiers after 2015. This will bring it to its smallest size in more than a century. When 7,000 other troops are cut under the Strategic Defense and Security Review, the Army will have only 84,000 soldiers left. The cuts leave the British military with reduced capabilities and less international influence. The U.S. Department of Commerce has reported that career openings in science, technology, engineering, and math are on the rise in the United States. The bad news is there are not enough qualified Americans to fill them. The CEO of Dow Chemical Company recently said there are 1 million such jobs available right now and only 200,000 graduates to step into them. To counter the shortage, Dow is opening research labs in China, Brazil, Eastern Europe, and India. The situation is ironic in a country with employment hovering near 1 in 10, but the state of American education is to blame. According to a report published last year, less than 1/3 of American 8th graders are considered proficient in math and science. The Department of Homeland Security reported on Tuesday that it is on alert for saboteurs. The DHS intelligence report said that sabotage by an insider at a major utility facility could inflict massive damage on the nation. The department said that violent extremists have already obtained insider positions and some have attempted to recruit utility employees to carry out physical and cyber attacks. A former White House counterterrorism advisor said the threat is very real and it could be as easy as the wrong person getting a job and flipping a switch. The result could be a power grid short circuit, a pipeline explosion, or worse. Bible prophecy indicates that terrorism and crime, violence and riots will increase because of our nation's rebellion against God and His laws. That is the Trumpet.com Week in Review.